We have a cake story for you, ladies and gents. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Eat My Cake? That's a ludicrous title. I'm not even doing a poll for that. Let's dive right in. A few days ago was my male 20 birthday. My family asked me if I wanted to celebrate or anything. I thought about it and came to the conclusion that I did not want to celebrate at all. No party, no cake, no gifts, etc. I explicitly said that I did not want a cake and I did not want gifts. I was okay without. Apparently, I was being too vague because basically, on my birthday, they took out a cake and asked me to blow out the candles. I didn't pretend to be pleased, and they could tell I was mad since I didn't speak. I was already feeling a bit sick to my stomach for unrelated reasons. They kept asking me, "Why are you being so difficult?" I didn't want it. In fact, I said, and yes, I was definitely an asshole, at least in this part, judge all of this as a whole. If I wanted cake, I would have asked for one like this. I blew the candles and went away, refusing to eat even a bite. I did this strategically because I want my parents to understand. I want them to think I'm ungrateful and to stop giving me gifts that I didn't ask for and don't need. I'm gotta remind us all, OP's 20 years old. This Christmas, they also gave me a gift that I did not want. It was a cassette of an artist that I really like, but it was one of the albums I don't care for. I collect cassettes because I like to listen to music on them, not out of some need to occupy space. And, music-related tangent here, especially with a rare medium that's mostly collectibles at this point, why hoard albums that I don't like when there are plenty of people who would like to add them to their collection? I didn't hide my distaste. I told them that if they didn't find something I liked, they didn't have to get me anything. I'd rather not get anything than something I won't use. They called me ungrateful and said that I could at least have pretended to like it. So I've already gathered that they don't seem to care about what I want. They want to fill a quota or something. My mother also buys me clothes without asking me beforehand and forces me to wear them. I'm fine with the crappy clothes I wear usually, but fine. And apparently there's some other birthday gifts coming, none of which I asked for, obviously. Returning to the birthday, my sister messaged me and told me that I could have at least eaten a slice. I said that if I don't want something, I don't want it. They got mad when I explicitly said I didn't want it beforehand, so I refused on principle. Let them eat it. If it was really for me, they wouldn't have brought it. My sister said that they did this in good faith, but I kept saying that I would rather they hadn't. They don't listen to me and don't respect my boundaries. She said that I'm a grown-ass man and I need to grow up, and that it's just a cake. It's not like they shot you, and talked about how they don't respect her as much as they respect me and to not complain. Am I the asshole? Also, does anyone know how to make them get my point? I'm afraid they'll never learn. How'd you like to have a kid like this, Katie Thunder? What kind of Kobayashi Maru is this for a parent? To have a 20-year-old that is the most angsty teen I've ever witnessed in a story here. I don't want a cake. Don't give me a cake. Okay? That feels like a trap. I'm going to get you a cake. Shows up with a cake. I told you I didn't want this. Now, look, there's the, I feel like I'm doing the right thing for you, or I'll feel guilty as a parent if I don't get you a cake, so consider this a me thing. You know, I feel like maybe we'd be able to self-reflect enough and look at the situation and understand that and state that and be like, look, this isn't for you, this is for us, so we don't feel bad for not getting you a cake, okay? And that's probably where this comes from. I feel like I'm failing as a parent if I don't celebrate your birthday. I understand you don't want to, and that's cool. We're going to celebrate your birth because we're happy that you're here. If you don't want to be a part of it, that's fine. Cool. You don't have to eat it. You don't have to take pictures. That's where they f***ed up for me. Like, making him sit down and doing the singing, like making him wear the clothes, making him do the things, that feels like there's kind of a tipping point where it's fulfilling obligation and fulfilling a quota, like he said, which, yeah, it's a them thing. They're doing what they feel like they need to do, but he is disrespectful. He is entitled in a very don't touch me kind of way. He's repelling the people who are trying to love him, and maybe that's just who he is, and they need to understand that he's a unique individual, and it's not black and white. It's not ones and zeros like we talked about before. It's not like that. It's everybody's allowed to be their own unique person, and if they love him for who he is, they will respect the isms that he's got, his quirks. And this is part of his personality. He's the 20-year-old grumpy old man. That's like how he likes it. Cool. But he has to be able to understand their side of this as well and understand his parents. It's really hard to not celebrate your child's birthday, right? So I see both sides here. I understand that he feels like he's being he feels like he's being managed by his parents, and he is a bit, right? He is a bit, but also be a little bit grateful, be a little bit diplomatic with it here. Candy Thunder, what do you think? Pop on up.
Well, my initial response was to be like, yeah, he is kind of being shitty, but
Shitty butt.
no, he's a shitty butt. He told you what he didn't want, and you did exactly what he didn't want you to do. And so as a parent, yes, that is it's very hard to not want to celebrate your child, because you remember the day they were born, you remember everything about it. Like, you remember the day they came into your lives, and that's what you're celebrating. It's an excitement, and as a parent, it is as much for you as it is for them. But at some point, your child becomes an individual, and you no longer get a say. And he's to that point where the parents really don't get a say, and he told you exactly what you wanted, or what he wanted out of his birthday, and they did the opposite. So that sucks for him, and he's feeling unheard and completely invalidated in that moment, so he's angry. But what I would have done would be like, hey, send me something that you do want. Send me something that I can buy you. It doesn't have to be a birthday gift, just something that I can get for you that makes you feel seen. Or here's X amount of dollars for your birthday. Please do something that makes your heart happy. Please do something that's for you, because I would want to give him something to celebrate that day. But I don't want to offend him by celebrating in a way that he doesn't like.
So this is where it gets tricky. I think right now neither party is worried about offending the other. He's ungrateful, and maybe he just doesn't like his birthday. That's one thing, but he talked about Christmas gifts in here too. And it is if you're not going to get me something that I actually want, don't get me anything. That's where he lost me, because you're going to be, at least pretend to be grateful, to be respectful for the time and money that people are putting into giving you gifts, right? You have to be grateful to be at least a DFHB. So he's kind of choosing to be an asshole with that attitude of, if it's not really special, don't even bother.
Which is why I would just give money. And that's kind of what we tell our kids. If there's nothing specific that you want, we have a birthday budget, and if there isn't something that you want, or you would rather shop for it yourself, here's your birthday budget. Yeah. Have fun, enjoy your time, whether that's with your friends or something that you want to do. But no, I mean 100% he's being an angsty asshole. Like, I don't think that's debatable. He's being kind of shitty, but maybe he's being shitty because he doesn't feel like they're actually listening to him, or maybe he's different from the rest of his family and they don't try to understand the way that his mind works. So as a parent, I would want to make sure that they feel like I understand what they want, and I would want to give that to them. Sure. And
neither one of them give that to each other right now. And there is more responsibility on the parents to teach, right? To teach. And yes, he's 20, but he could be on the spectrum. And that would explain a lot of his unique preferences here, right? He's strong feelings about some of these things, but there is a responsibility as a parent to teach. And it could be
I wouldn't put up with this behavior. And I wouldn't do what they did. So, like, out of all of this stuff, I feel like he was an asshole, and they were also an asshole. At the same time. Yeah. I feel like they didn't. He was disrespectful, and so were they. And he kind of just seems like I don't know. The way he writes, the way he presents it all, he seems very disconnected. Like, kind of moody, maybe. So, I don't know. I feel bad for him, but I also understand why the family did what they did, but it probably wasn't the right thing to do. Condescending. There you go. He seems very angsty and condescending.
He's still living with him. So I feel like this individual is going to have you are really just magnetically repelled from the frame today, aren't you?
I'm going old school. I'm drifting out of frame.
It's an old school TikTok hootenanny with Candy Thunder drifting out of frame.
Here's the thing. I gift give. I like to gift give. But I also am very thoughtful about what I give to people. And I do buy things, like I'll see it and I'm like, hey, my mom would love this. So I would buy it for my mom. But if your gift giving upsets people, then you're not doing it right. Yeah. So I think you have to give the gift that they want to receive. And that's just the type of person that he is. So if you want to connect with him, do it on his level. And I honestly think he's 20. He's not mature. Like, you give him time to mature. And I don't know, maybe he'll always be an asshole. Maybe he is just going to be blunt and straight to the point and not care about what other people think.
Well, he probably got to where he is because he's been misunderstood, or feels like he's been misunderstood and unseen and unheard his whole life, right? So that now it's getting to a breaking point because he feels like he should be independent. Number one, this attitude is going to be a very, very big culture shock for him when he enters the real world, right? And doesn't have his family there, because everybody else is going to be just like this, and he's going to have to learn how to navigate it. But his parents have to realize that this is a them problem. They have to realize that what they're doing to fulfill their own cups, not because they think it's the right thing to do for him. So at least realizing that and communicating that and be like, hey, I understand you don't want a cake. This is not for you. This is for us because we want to celebrate. Being able to do that is at least a step in the right direction. And communicate with him. And maybe there is a middle ground somewhere to be found once you start communicating and actually listening to what he's telling you, and start. They're rigid constraints, but that's who he is as a person. So start navigating those rigid constraints.
I think it's an ESH.
I think it is as well, to varying degrees, but yes.
I wouldn't know how to react if one of our kids did this. So I would be shocked in the moment. I would be upset in the moment. So I understand the family's point of view as well, because I would feel hurt that I f***ed up, that made them feel the way that he's feeling. But I would also be like, don't be an asshole. So I get it. I get both sides. I understand it, but I don't know.
Makes sense.
Yep.